morning, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome back to day 12 of learning. Today what we're going to do to start off our day is we're going to be practicing our sight words again. There are 6 new sight words that some will be familiar to you and others will be new to you. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over and say the 6 sight words that we are going to be practicing with today. Then I'm going to model 2 examples on our whiteboard that are going to go along with the worksheet that we are going to be completing today. And then we will practice 2 problems on our worksheet together before I send you off to complete the rest on your own. So let's go over our 6 sight words today that we are going to be practicing with. As I say each sight word, you can repeat back after me. Father, work, go, said, my, and by. So we have 3 sight words that we have already been practicing with. Go, my, and by. And these 3 sight words are actually hanging up on our sight word wall in our classroom. I want to also clarify that this sight word father also means like your dad, is another word for dad, father, okay? So what I'm going to do first is on one part of your worksheet, you're going to see these directions, these 3 categories: read, trace, and write. And there's going to be sight words below here. These 6 sight words are going to be listed here. So I'm going to go over each of the steps and model one for you. So the first one says read, so I would read the sight word. Then the next one says trace, so I would trace spelling out the sight word. And then the third one says write, which means I would write the sight word out on my own. So let's begin. Under read, I would read the sight word, and it is work. That sight word is work. Then I will trace the sight word. And as I trace the sight word, I'm going to say each of the letters as I trace them. So now I'm going to trace the word work. W, O, R, K. Work. Now, the next and last category is write. So I'm going to write by myself the sight word work right here. And as I write out the sight word, I'm going to say each letter as I write it. So work. W, O, R, K. Work. That's going to be part 1 of your worksheet. The second part of your worksheet is you're going to fill in the sentence using one of the sight words above. The sight words right here are going to be in a word bank. Some of you are very familiar with word banks because we use them during reading. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read my sentence just as is. Then I'm going to start filling in the sight words. And as I fill in the sight word, I'm going to see is when I fill that sight word in the blank, does my sentence make sense and does it sound correctly? If the sentence makes sense and it sounds correctly, that means that that sight word is the one that completes the sentence. If my sentence does not sound right or does not sound correctly, that means that sight word is not the one that is going to complete the blank. So I'm going to go through each of the sight words until I find the one that best completes the sentence. It makes sense and it sounds correctly. So step 1 is we're going to read our sentence. Did you go to blank? Okay, now I'm going to choose my first sight word, which is father, and I'm going to put it into the blank. Did you go to father? It kind of makes sense, but it doesn't sound correctly, so I'm going to try other sight words just to see. Now I'm going to place the sight word work in the blank. Did you go to work? Well, that sounds correctly, and it makes sense, so work must be the one that I fill in on the blank. So I'm going to copy the word work on the blank line here. W-O-R-K. Okay. Did you go to work? Makes sense and it sounds correctly. So that must be the sight word that best completes my sentence. Once I use a sight word, I would cross it off on top to know that that sight word cannot be used again. So then these are the remaining sight words that are going to help me fill in the rest of my sentences. Now what we're going to do is we're going to complete an example on one side of your worksheet together and an example on the other side of your worksheet together. So materials that you are going to need for this is you're going to find the sight word worksheet titled A Fly Flew by the Frog. So there's a picture of a frog on one side with the title A Fly Flew by the Frog. You'll also see the three categories, read, trace, and write. And then when you flip it over on the back, you're going to see those same sight words in a word bank with the fill-in-the-blank sentences. So remember, you're looking for the worksheet that's titled on the front, A Fly Flew by the Frog. And you're also going to need a pencil. So I'd like you to get those two materials out in front of you so we can complete an example together. If you need a little bit of extra time finding those in your packet, please pause the video here, and when you have both of your materials out in front of you, a pencil and the worksheet, press play so we can complete this together. So I just want to make sure everybody is going to be on the same side of the worksheet, because this is the example that we're going to complete together first. So making sure that you're on the side that's titled A Fly Flew, this is like a tongue twister. A Fly Flew by the Frog, okay? And over here, there is a spot for your name, so I'd like you to write your first and last name on your paper, as I will also. Okay, now we're going to complete the first one together. Just like we have here, as I demonstrated on the whiteboard, there's three different categories. First one is read, second one is trace, third one is write. So we're going to first read the word to identify what sight word we're working with, trace the word together as we say each letter when we trace it, and then write the word on our own. As we write each letter, we say each letter to complete the word. So let's start with the first one. Let's read the word together. The word is father. The word is father. Now we're going to trace the word father. And we're going to say each letter as we trace it, starting with the letter F. So father, F, A, T, H, E, R, father. Now we're going to write the word on our own. The word is father. Saying each letter again as we write it. We're going to try our best to write all of the lowercase letters, starting with the letter F. So father is F, A, T, H, E, R, father. So then when it's going to be your turn to complete the worksheet on your own, you would do the same for the remaining 5. Read the word and say it, trace the word and say each letter as you trace each letter, and then write the word on your own by saying each letter as you write it, all in lowercase. Now let's go over to the back of the worksheet and let's complete one of the examples here together. So when I flip our worksheet over on the back, I'm going to read the directions out loud. You can follow along. Choose the word to fit in the space in each sentence. Write it in the space. Here is our word bank of the 6 vocabulary words we're practicing with. So our first step is we're going to read the sentence as it is. So let's do that together. Will blank come with you? Now we're going to go to our word bank and we're going to start filling in the sight word in the blank to see if our sentence makes sense and if it sounds correctly. So let's go over to the first one. Let's plug in the word father. Will father come with you? Makes sense and sounds correctly. So father is the fill-in. So we're going to write the word father in the blank. Let's do it together. Father. F-A-T-H-E-R. And I'm going to cross off the word father in my word bank to know that that sight word is already used and it cannot be used again. So then I'm just going to reread the sentence again just to make sure it sounds correctly and it makes sense. Will father come with you? Sounds correctly and makes sense. So then what you're going to do on your own after you finish watching the video is you're going to complete the last 5 sentences on your own. You will read the sentence as is and then begin filling in the blanks with the sight words. Remember, if the sight word does not make sense or does not sound correctly, you move on to the next one until you find the sight word that completes the sentence. But before I send you off to complete the rest of the worksheet on your own, let's first say our 6 sight words together again. As I say them, you can repeat back or you can say them with me. Here we go. Father, work, go, said, my, and by. Now it's going to be your turn. Remember, the first part is you're going to, on the beginning page, a fly flew by the frog. You're going to say the sight word and read it. Trace the sight word as you say each of the letters as you trace it. And then write the sight word on your own as you say each letter as you write it. On the back, you're going to complete the sentences with one of the sight words. You're going to first read the sentence as is, then using your word bank, start plugging in a sight word, and as you plug in the sight word and read the sentence, you're going to see if the sentence makes sense and if the sentence sounds correctly. If it does not make sense and it does not sound correctly, you move on to the next sight word until you find the sight word that fills in the blank that makes sense and sounds correctly. Once you write that sight word on the blank, you're going to cross it off on your word bank to let you know that that sight word cannot be used anymore. Once you're done with both sides of your worksheet, you can have a parent take a picture and send it to me so I can see the wonderful work that you are doing. And we'll also practice a little bit more sight words in our Zoom meeting today at 10 o'clock. After you're done with your sight words, it will now be time for reading. So I will see you all back in reading.